Yes, folks, people, what is happening here? Zim, aka the Dark Millennial, back again. It's been a minute, man. It's been a minute. I hope you guys are well. Hope you're looking after yourselves. Yeah, man, things are looking up now, aren't they? I think we're coming slowly out of this epidemic, and yeah, I think it's been it's been almost like just about over a year now since it was first announced. But hey, man, onwards and upwards. We always think about the future, and yeah, man, we keep going on and we keep striding. Well, anyway, all of you guys, people. Well, Transformers, the movie, the sequel to Bumblebee, should we say, as we know, Steven Caple Jr. is attached to direct the next movie. Things to look out for and things to definitely be look forward to. Has great credentials. Worked with Creed 2 being one of the bigger components there. But yeah, no, I mean, I think just a reimagination of the whole universe through his eyes is definitely a welcome. I think Travis Knight, who did Bumblebee, the original movie, the Bumblebee movie, was fantastic. It was great. I think he did a great introduction into the universe. I think he reintroduced and re-energized the Transformers universe as we should see it. Not that travesty and abomination that Michael Bay did. I mean, Jesus. Michael blasted Bay, that man. Yeah, no. He was absolutely bad. And the fact that he was given more money to just produce over a period of 5 movies. I mean, the first one, okay, let's say that the first one was okay, but the rest of the 4, they just got progressively bad. And the thing that really frustrates me is not only could this have been much more a rival to that of Marvel in terms of what they were introduced, but just the fact that you have interesting characters that were wasted. We have barely got anything off the Decepticon personalities whatsoever. Only Megatron and Starscream. That generally was it, and the Fallen. But it was generally so bad. Oh man, But anyway, we're forgetting about that. But we are on to, as you can see, the title. We were talking about Megatron, and hopefully his possibilities and his introduction into this particular movie, that should be wicked. His premises should be very good. Years back, we actually heard that an Optimus Prime movie was in the works. As of yet, we do not know what the sequel to this movie is, whether it will be titled Optimus Prime, so that we see through his lenses, through his eyes, of the struggle with becoming coming up the ranks, and how he's introduced to Megatron. I mean, that would be a fantastic look of seeing the two of them. How Megatron was this assiduous person, who rose to power. To see his origins, that would be amazing. And to see the relationship, the tumultuous relationship. I love that word, tumultuous, between the two. How this character rose to power. Very, very similar to that you see of a younger Hitler character. Hitler, how he was a person. He wasn't just born evil. He wasn't just born bad. He just slowly, had these ideals and had all these influences and saw what was going on around him and thought in his own world that he didn't like the changes that was happening. He didn't like what was being made and what was being produced. So he wanted to rise to power and to take control and to say, look, this is how I see the world. We're not these weak beings. We're more stronger than that. I mean, again, he was part of the biggest atrocities to the world, the Holocaust, and we saw, how that came out. So with Megatron, this is kind of like a similar feature. I look at him as being kind of that guy, So who is Megatron? I mean, he is the founder of the Decepticons. He forged from the walls of fighting his way to the top. His whole life was violent. That's how I envision Megatron. He wasn't peaceful in any way, shape, or form. He had to fight his way. In order to get what he wanted. And it's quite a universal language and a lesson there. I mean, obviously he went a very darker, deeper route, I think, because he was so infatuated by the sense of power. But this feeling of being unbeatable and being able to sort of rise against the odds and being this being of true inanimate anger and rage against the oppressed machines, which I think, as far as I remember, he viewed the entire sanctuary, or at least the Autobots, and led by Optimus Prime. But the Autobots were more of a peaceful resolution sub team culture that led by Optimus Prime, or original Orion Pax, was about peace and unity and bringing together not just other robots in his fraction, but again, I think spreading the message around the world, and I think just introducing themselves as sentient beings that saying, we're here also too. We want to coexist. We want to bring forth a sense of peace to the universe, and with other contributions from other worlds, they wanted to do that. But Megatron, obviously, being of such absolute power and fighting that rage and inner demon within him, wouldn't allow that, and obviously looked upon him as being a weakness. Optimus Prime is an example of what shouldn't be for Cybertron. It's very powerful. I mean, the things they can really hone in on this is so much. You've got buckets and buckets of material in the Transformers lore. You just have to pick up a book, which Michael Bay didn't do. You can just really concentrate exactly on the rise of how the Decepticons forged. And yeah, that would be a fantastic introduction and a way of us seeing it all, the vision through his eyes as well. I mean, this could definitely be a movie where we could see both of these characters, really just the strengths. If we're going into like a prequel-esque, if that was the case, if that was the case of looking at both of them and seeing how they became the characters and how they became mortal enemies, from friends to, or associates to, who knows? I think you can tell a story right, and this one is begging to be told. I mean, Megatron, that he is obviously going to be the main protagonist. I can assume, I can almost imagine it'd be horrible if he wasn't in the movie. I mean, again, Bumblebee serves as a fantastic introduction into what to expect, and I think obviously leading off from that, I think a lot of people, obviously, bear in mind the amount of people that were saying so much shit about the whole feeling of, oh, Transformers, why is it just Bumblebee? Hang on a second. The clue is in the title, Bumblebee. We're telling the story through his eyes. He's a scout. He came to Earth to scout the territory, and also to take and to bring forth any information, because again, Megatron, if any of the Decepticons got word of this planet full of resources, therefore the Decepticons would know about it and plummet and obviously turn Earth into its probably living second Cybertron. But however, we don't know what the sequel will hold. We don't know how word has been spread. As I'm sure, obviously, their arrival to Earth will come at some point. How it happens, we don't know. But yeah, due to Megatron, he is just, again, talking about this character. He's just a titanic being, just of sheer chaos and rage, whereas peace and cooperation should not be the case, and that rule and takeover is, that's where his assertiveness comes into play. He's all about the ruthlessness, the cunningness, the mercilessness. He fears no one will challenge him. If anyone does, well, he can take. Well, he'll step up, and he'll let them know exactly who he is. The only other person he knows that could potentially or has come across, he's defeated him a few times, is Optimus Prime. And just having the two of them together on screen, and seeing them in the screen, especially when the COVID is done, by 2022 when the film is set to be released. So we should get some more news this year about what the film is and what it'll be about. Yeah, it would be fantastic. Especially, can you imagine it on IMAX? That the entire film's just set, seeing these robots just fight, and that's what people want. We want to see the robots. We want to see them. This is their war. This is their journey. This is their struggle. We want to see the fallout. We want to see the revenge factor. We don't want to see any human struggles at all of any kind. Yes, there can be humans in there. They act as a course to help displace and to help almost create an entire emotion as well, because it helps drive the story of the Autobots trying to save and safeguard the humans. However, their story should not be taken over for these characters, because it is all about the Transformers and their lore. And also, just lastly, from the movie, what I want to see from this movie, I want to see a deeper, more struggle. I want to see a hidden meaning. I want to see a deeper progression when it comes to Megatron and Optimus Prime, especially Megatron. I think we've seen a lot of villains on screen, and a lot of them, people always rate Darth Vader as being one of the top tier villains. And then you got, see, who else do you have? Sauron, Lord of the Rings, and then you got obviously other villains, from Anthony Hopkins, Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal. There have been plenty of cinema villains, but when I see this character, Megatron, I think he can top it all. He can play to those tropes. Again, going back to the whole Nazi Germany and their rise to power. The Decepticons are that fraction. They're establishing themselves. The Decepticon logo is itself is breaking away from tradition. Whereas it's about heeding to the word. No, the Decepticons are all about the takeover, about control. If you're weak, then you don't survive. Survival of the fittest. That's all it is. It's all about his ranks. Megatron only is to obtain the strongest to join his ranks. And if you're weak, then you'd be left behind. He wasn't. He's a character who doesn't tolerate the weakness. It's all about strength, and it's all about power. And to see that manifest onto screen, and to see his character evolve slowly, from what it was from a malice being to this tyrannical, merciless, angry character, oh man, it'd be amazing. It'd be amazing to see. I've got all hope. I've got I've got confidence in Mr. Steven Caple Jr. He's gonna absolutely smash it out of the park. And I can't wait to see the model of Megatron. How he'd be like. Hopefully, obviously, we'll know that he'll be to his tank form. That's for sure. I know he's going to be like that particular tank. Obviously, it won't be the gun, because I think it's now more so realistic to have the character change more to an alternate mode that's within his range. Although saying that, Shockwave and space gun, so maybe Megatron could be another version of a gun. But I think we've been used to seeing him as an alternate mode, being a space fusion tank of some sort, that from Cybertron. That would be cool. yeah, man, I just want to see nothing but power, takeover, destruction from this guy. You know, that's what I want him to really come to earth with a thunder, you know, with a bang, to establish who he is and to let the humans know that, you know, they're in for a hell of a lot. You know, they've not yet seen any presence like this at all. And the only individuals that are able to stop them is Optimus Prime and his Autobots. So that, guys, thank you very much for patching in, and yeah, please feel free to leave a like and a comment, or more so a comment. I love to hear people's views, especially, you know, what do you see coming out of the sequel to Bumblebee, you know, this movie. You know, how do you view Megatron? You know, what do you want him to be? You know, do you want him to be this tyrannical, merciless being, or do you have another future? Do you have another feeling, or, you know, or look to him? You know, I think we've been used to seeing all versions of him, from Beast Wars to Beast Machines, Transformers Prime, you know, and he's been pretty much straight arrow, really. You know, obviously Transformers Prime was probably the most recent of the Megatron, especially with Frank Welker taking up the voice role back to Megatron. So it was great to see, to hear his voice in the series. So yeah, it'd be great to see him come back here as well, you know, especially Peter Cullen and Frank Welker. You know, if this is to be, obviously I would love to see them come back over and over. So I don't want to see this the last time, because, you know, I heard that, obviously, no, actually I'm not saying anything, but yeah, both of these voice actors need to come back just to voice the characters. And yeah, I want to see robots, action, character explanation, depth, story play out, you know, real grandeur, and it can be done, you know. So yeah, with that, I'm gonna head off, guys. Thank you very much for patching and watching in. Keep well, look after yourself well, and remember, you know, just, you know, wash those hands, keep well, keep masked up, and we'll be in the cinemas in no time. Peace.